March Madness is finally here. I cannot believe it. And we got a great game to start out the tournament. You got the 8 seed Ohio State going up against the number 9 seed TCU. If you want to talk about two teams that are coming in that are playing very well right now, these two might be some of the hottest teams in the entire country, especially going into this tournament. This is a reason why I love kind of starting out the tournament with an 8-9 matchup, right? Like a lot of people really have to pick one way or the other. That's why Ohio State's a 2.5 point favorite, right? Like these are really two closely contested teams. These are two teams that, if you really look at it, are kind of different, right? And I think that's what makes this really exciting because you have Ohio State coming in and they're a very guard heavy, guard focused lineup, right? Like you have guys like Bruce Thornton, you have guys like John Mobley Jr. They've been absolutely massive for Ohio State, especially down the stretch. But then you also have guys like Devin Royal and Christoph Tilley as well that has really been able to provide some offense for this Ohio State team. And this is an Ohio State team offensively, if you look at them, they've been pretty good, and defensively, they're about as good as offense as well. Maybe not as great, but you really look at just the overall picture of both of these teams, Ohio State is a better offensive team. If you look at defensively, TCU, I think, is obviously going to be a team that's going to really rely on its defense because it's a top 30 defense in the entire country, according to Bart Torvik. But if you look at Ohio State's only about 15, 20 spots lower. So, like, that is a little bit of a drop, but still a drop enough where maybe if this is a really low-scoring game, this could be a game that TCU could truly take away from Ohio State. But like I was specifically mentioned, this is an Ohio State team that's coming in playing very, very well right now. 3-point percentage, 2-point percentages are top 60 in the entire country for Ohio State. This is an Ohio State team that really, when they shoot the ball well, this is an Ohio State team that is really, really tough to stop, and they have so many different options when it comes to offensively. It's going to be really reliant on, obviously, Bruce Thornton and John Mobley Jr., but Devin Royal has had good games this year. Christoph Tilley can really put the ball in a basket. They've been able to score down low, and that's why I think this is going to be a matchup that I think really favors Ohio State, even though this is a 2.5 point favorite right now, because if you look at TCU, they're much better defensively than offensively. Now, if you look at just the overall last 10 games, they've been better offensively, but still going to be really reliant on this defense because this is not a great shooting team for TCU. But they also don't give up a ton either, which I think is really going to be what TCU is going to rely its hat on, is its defense. They're going to be able to hopefully stop this Ohio State offense. And if they're able to do that, they've been able to do that. This is a game that can truly be closer. They have a couple scoring options. It's going to be mostly their forwards in this one. They do have one guard in Jaden Peer, who is a top 4 scorer for them, but it's going to be David Punch and Xavier Edmonds. They're going to be their two kind of guys when it comes to scoring. It's going to really be about getting the ball in the paint, not really shooting a ton of threes, and really kind of making it overall a scrappy game. If this is a game where Ohio State's able to get out and get running, able to shoot the ball well, able to get the ball to its guards, allow Bruce Thornton to get in the lane, allow John Mobley Jr. to hit shots from the outside. If Devin Royal gets going offensively, this is a game where TCU cannot get stops. This is going to be one of those games that, even though it's an 8-9 matchup, I can absolutely see that this going Ohio State ways just because of that. That's why I think they're a favorite, just because if you look at the overall picture of this matchup, it makes sense to go with Ohio State in this one just because of TCU being so kind of reliant on its defense. But this is an offense that has been better. Like I specifically said, last 10 games, they've been really good defensively, been better offensively. This is an Ohio State team that, again, can put up points. So it's really going to be, in my opinion, a matchup where TCU is really going to have to make it scrappy. It's really going to have to be a low-scoring game. If it's a low-scoring game, this could be one that could be really interesting. Now, TCU, if you look at their overall records in really close games, not the greatest record per se, but this is also an Ohio State team led by Bruce Thornton that hasn't experienced this, right? And that's just the complete difference of Ohio State and TCU. right? TCU has already played some really tough teams this year in Michigan. I know Ohio State has as well, but when you come into March, it's going to be about guard play. It's going to be about experience. It's going to be about trying to get to that next round. And if it's a close game, if it's a scrappy game, if it's a very defensive game, I think that favors TCU. But if it's a game where Ohio State can shoot the ball well, which a lot of teams haven't been able to do very well against TCU, I think this is a game that Ohio State ends up winning. So that's why it's a 2.5 point favorite. I think you have two teams that are kind of different styles, different ways of approaching things. I think overall, if you look at just the team as a whole, I think this Ohio State team is the better team overall. But at the end of the day, it's an 8-9 matchup. It's a 2.5 points spread between both of these teams. That just shows you how close these teams are. That's why they're starting in the NCAA tournament. So I think it's going to be a really great game. I think it's going to be a really fun game. I just think the different styles kind of plays a little bit more to what Ohio State wants to do, especially guard play, because the one thing that everyone says every single year is what wins in March? Guard play. Ohio State has a better guard play. Ohio State has guys in the front court that can score. I think Ohio State has more guys that you can really go to contribute that can score more threats. Now, does that matter at the end of the day? No, necessarily, but I think you're going to trust Ohio State offensively a little bit more than TCU. But we'll definitely see what happens. If this is something that you enjoy, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Put your predictions in the comments as well. Who do you have winning? Who do you think wins this game? I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to truly depend on what style of play, the pace, who can get going offensively. If shots are being made, I think Ohio State wins this one. If it's going to be a defensive stalemate, I think you trust TCU defense a little bit more as well. So let me know. Thanks for tuning in, and tune into the other recaps and previews of the NCAA tournament games.